sad part for me, although that's funny, I have what's numerous, probably hundreds, perhaps even thousands of students do silly and stupid things like that. Which is why about 20 years ago I began doing presentations like this to Year 11 students, particularly because I didn't want them to actually finally be preparing for exams and prepare very poorly like Mr. Dean did there. So a key part of this presentation is about getting better at exams. Actually, the gist of it is about being successful. And you will see I'm going to use other clips, particularly Johnny Wilkinson a little bit later on, to illustrate this in other spheres. The reason that I do this full time, and people persuaded me a few years ago to stop teaching and do this full time, is because we've learned so much about how we learn and how to be successful in recent years that it's important that you people have the opportunity to learn from this. And so one of the crucial things for me is to try to help you unpick where the problems are. Now, I've given you an example here of something which you could use in numerous cases. And they are just simple questions that I'd like you to reflect upon for yourself. You're at a stage in your life where you're going to make a very difficult decision next year what you're going to do. But what I'd like you to think about for the moment is, what do you think up to this point is your greatest success so far? A few weeks ago, a few months ago, the Olympics occurred, and particularly we had 4 female rowers who were absolutely distraught, burst into tears because they only got a silver medal at the Olympics. What I would like for you to think for the moment, why would anybody feel that just not getting the gold was a reason to not feel they've been successful? One of the things which you may have come across and seen lots of evidence over the last few years is that people believe that by winning the lottery they are going to feel absolutely elated and feel successful. You probably now know that there are hundreds, nay thousands, who actually have found within almost no time at all that they don't feel any better off. And it's an important thing for people to think why that's the case. I'm going to ask you a particular question. A few years ago I ran the London Marathon before I became a complete cripple. It's hard to believe, but once I was a PE teacher. And when I ran that London Marathon, I had an idea what would cause me to be successful. Now can you put your hand up if you think if I'd run it, or if you'd have run it in 2 hours, you would have felt successful? That's good, we've got a few hands up. In actual fact, everybody should have their hand up because the world record is not quite down to 2 hours. That actually would be success for any living human being. And one of the first things to bear in mind is if you want to aim to be successful, you must know a feasible, reasonable target. Many people, particularly teenagers, actually have a very poor idea of what success actually looks like. And it causes a problem. That's why this morning is so very important for you. The time that I ran it in was 4.5 hours. Would you know you would have felt successful if you ran 26 miles in 4.5 hours? Oh, that makes me feel a lot better. That's good. Thank you very much. But what about 24 hours? Because there were a lot of people around there that took that during the day. And that's good to see a number of hands out there. Because the majority of people who actually take part in the London Marathon actually just want to get round. And it's very important that people understand that what determines how successful you feel is this next slide. When you look back at your life, whether it's at the age of 15, 16 as you are now, or a hell of a lot older as I am now, one thing will come out to you. The biggest successes in your life will be because you've overcome the greatest difficulties. And that's very, very important at this moment in your life, because you've got a difficult decision to make. But actually, that's why you will feel so successful in a few years' time. Because the bigger the difficulty, the greater the feeling of success. And that is absolutely essential that people understand that. Because when they're feeling it's tough going, you've got to reflect upon this and think, that's why I'm going to feel so good when I've overcome it. And that's why, for me, the essence of this is about helping you, and hopefully your teachers will follow this up, help you to learn to identify what your difficulties are. And that's what much of this morning may well be about. But particularly in exams, and then help you overcome them. Now I'm going to use a few examples for you to try. And I'm going to give you one immediately. If you've never done it before, I suspect it will stick with you. All I would like you to do is to sit back in your chair and fold your arms. Just lean back on your chair and fold your arms. What I would like you to do now is just look which arm is on top. For me, my left arm is on top and my right arm is underneath. Yours may be the other way round. And all I'd like you to do now is just switch it round. Now what you've discovered immediately is, for a lot of people, they don't know how difficult certain things are until they try it. And then you have to come to terms. How am I going to overcome that? And again this morning, the whole of this morning is about that. Unfortunately, I'm going to give you another, if you like, task to do, which will illustrate if you want to be successful, you've got to consider this. I'd like you to put your arms straight out in front of you. What I would like you to do now is very, very quickly fold your arms the wrong way round. Very impressive, very impressive. What that illustrates, and then take this away with you, if you want to get better at anything, it ain't going to happen quickly. But sadly, anything which is actually relatively, for us, a success will take time. It will take practice. And you will see that come out, if you've not already identified that in your 15, 16 years, it will become clear to you in the next few years. Any real quality success will take time, it will take effort, and it will be a question of overcoming the difficulties. Now, if you open your booklet, you'll see on the third page, I've given you this learning pyramid. One of the things that I want to illustrate to you, this is a very important part of your learning, and to understand this.